Hello, hello. Sorry about the delay. I had to uh, make a few changes real quick. I'm gonna test out Nightbot one more time. All right, there we go. Yep, it does work. Okay, okay. What the going with the model? All right. Welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. Uh, welcome to Blitzies. We are gonna be doing some right reactions and some art practice. Today's stream is going to be art stream, so no biggie there. So that being said, let's get right into it. Alrighty. Alright. Uh, see here. What is going on? Alright. Not to change the transition. That's going to kill. Uh, Morbid curiosity.
Yeah, 911 is.
Alright. Hopefully everything's going well. Alright.
For emergencies, it's for the ambulance, or if you need a police officer, or if there's a fire and you need a firefighter.
I'm definitely heterosexual, I guess you could say.
Okay, why did...
Tier 1.
And first responders. But let's be honest, this isn't why you came here. Math homework. On November 15th, 2024, a 10-year-old child from Shawano County, Wisconsin, dialed 911 seeking assistance with a math homework problem. The dispatcher informed the child that the emergency line isn't intended for homework help, but kindly attempted to assist. When the problem proved challenging, Deputy Mason, who was nearby and available, was dispatched and visited the child's home to provide the needed help. Sheriff George Lenzer expressed pride in Mason's actions, emphasizing the department's commitment to community support and fostering positive relationships with local youth.
Okay, parents, when you're teaching your child the purpose of dialing emergency services or 911, 911 is for the United States. Don't just say dial 911 for emergencies. That's too vague. What you gotta do, you have to specify what kind of emergency there. Like dial 911 for stranger danger. Dial 911 if you think so, a parent, one of their parents or one of the family members are in genuine danger. And dial 911 if in case you're in danger, if the child's in danger. Yeah, yeah.
Making 911. In Wyoming, Michigan, a 5-year-old boy had access to his grandmother's cell phone. His grandmother had recently deactivated the phone and allowed him to play with it. And the funny thing about this is, even if a phone is deactivated and has no service, it still has access to 911 services. The phone will connect to any available cellular network. So a good learning experience from this is if you have a locked or deactivated phone, you can still call 911.
Hey, County 911, where's your emergency?
Can you put me in McDonald's?
I'm sorry, what?
And it was all captured on video.
Was a mannequin
Oh wow.
waving people down in traffic while on the phone with 911.
So I turned around and started calling for help, and nobody wanted to stop.
After police arrived, it was determined that the hanging man was a mannequin. meant to be part of the Christmas decorations and a callback to the best Christmas movie ever made, Christmas Vacation. The owners of the home had to put up signs saying that it was just a prop and do not call 911.
Okay,
So
okay, Halloween, Christmas or Halloween decoration tips. If you're gonna put in a mannequin at any of any kind, make sure it obviously looks like a mannequin and not so realistic someone calls 911.
bad about this incident, they got in contact with the man who called 911. They gave him a gift card and thanked him for his quick response and willingness to help a stranger. I'm a banana. Shamed YouTuber Onision faced backlash from multiple women regarding abhorrent accusations. As the allegations continued to gather mass attention, famed predator hunter Chris Hansen stepped into the picture. In an attempt to interview Onision, Chris Hansen approached his home, hoping to have an interview. Instead of confronting Hansen, Onision called 911.
911, what are you reporting?
Hi, there's a person who's been stalking me online, and they just showed up to my house.
Okay, and they're outside now?
Yes, they're knocking on my door.
Okay. And do you know if they have any weapons?
They have a bunch of camera people, like they're YouTube stalkers.
Okay, but no weapons seen?
I didn't see any weapons. I just saw like 6 guys in my driveway, and one of them is knocking on my door.
And the one that's knocking on your door, is he the main one that you said has been stalking you?
Yes, he's a stalker. He's yelling things at me through the door right now.
Okay, and do we know his name at all?
It's Chris Hansen.
In the call, Hansen and his film crew are referred to as stalkers. It's quite clear that they're not stalking him, but attempting to speak with Onision. And in my opinion, Onision referred to the crew as stalkers in an effort to get a quicker response time, and frame Hansen as a perpetrator. And while Hansen may have been a perpetrator at the time, he still wasn't the predator. Pizza call. I think anyone who's ever searched 911 calls has come across this one. The call comes from a woman who makes a 911 call and disguises the call as if she's ordering a pizza. The dispatcher handling the call is...
Oh shit! Someone back in the day when I was in grade school, someone told me this trick. And yeah, I still have yet to use it.
It's a bit confused at first, but the caller starts giving hints to the dispatcher as to what's happening.
Oregon 911.
I would like to order a pizza at...
You called 911 to order a pizza?
Yeah, apartment.
This is the wrong number to call for a pizza.
No, you're not.
I'm getting you now. Is the other guy still there?
Yep. I need a large pizza.
All right. How about medical? You need medical?
No. With pepperoni.
Turn your sirens off before you get there. Caller ordered a pizza and agreed with everything I said that there's domestic violence going on.
I'm going to get this part out of the way. After the release of this call, there was a widespread of misinformation. Facebook posts and various social media outlets picked up a rumor that if you call 911 and pretend to order a pizza, that the dispatcher is going to know what you're talking about. This is false. There is no official training regarding calling 911 and ordering a pizza. If at all possible, do your best to convey to the dispatcher what is happening.
Yeah.
Sometimes using coded words might work, but it's not a guarantee. And as for the dispatcher in this case, he was hailed as a local hero, managing to decipher what the caller was saying and sending police units to the home, resulting in the abuser being arrested. Balloon Boy.
I've heard
In
about
October
this.
2009, a frantic mother called 911 to report that her son had been swept away in their homemade helium balloon.
Yeah. Whoa!
Ma'am? What's your name?
My name is Mayumi Heaney.
Okay. And you're at the now? Okay. And so was it an experimental plane?
It's a flying saucer.
It's a flying saucer.
Yeah.
And that's gone too, right?
I'm sorry?
How long is the flying saucer gone as well?
Yeah,
Oh, let's skip.
The balloon managed to reach altitudes of 7,000 feet and traveled over 50 miles. Once the craft landed, the Sun Falcon was not located inside, theorizing that he had fallen out. Little did they know that the sun was actually at home and hiding away in the attic, completely safe from any harm brought on by the balloon. However, what started out as sympathy quickly escalated into frustration after the boy appeared on national television stating this.
You guys said that we did this for the show.
Yeah.
No.
You didn't,
You guys said that, we did this for the show, suggesting the whole event was staged. And after further investigation, it was determined the parents staged the entire incident.
Oof.
And both were sentenced in court and served a short period of time in jail.
Also, CPS was what he didn't mention was that CPS took the children. Unfortunately, the children were given back to the parents. Yeah. But still, what the fuck? And this is pre-YouTube. This is pre-YouTube. This is before 2005, so yeah. Was it two? Fuck, what year was it? Let's check.
Managing to decipher what being arrested.
Okay, what was it again?
Balloon Boy. In October 2009.
2009. So it was the beginning stages of YouTube, like early YouTube, before everything else. But so what the fuck? This was basically pre. Okay, so this is basically pre-family channels before it was a thing, before family channels were a thing.
Las Vegas aliens. On May 1st, 2023, a frantic 911 call came into Las Vegas PD, claiming they just witnessed a UFO crash behind their home.
There's like an 8-foot person beside it, and another one's inside, and it has big eyes and looking at us, and it's still there.
Okay, where is this on your property?
I think I've heard of
In my
this.
backyard. I swear to God, this is not a joke. This is actually we're terrified of it.
So there's two people or two subjects that are in your backyard?
Correct, and they're very large. They're like 8 foot.
Cam footage was released, and even reports of cell phone footage taken. The family was interrogated, and all members were deemed sober and credible sources. These were ordinary people who experienced something unexplainable. The family was so traumatized from this event that Las Vegas PD set up surveillance cameras outside of their home. This event spread across every inch of the internet, inciting multiple conspiracy theories, government cover-ups, and false claims. And as of writing, there is no substantial evidence on what was seen that night. Right now, we have only scratched the surface. To see what's beneath the water,
we
must go further. Be warned, from beyond this point, there will be calls that will be disturbing and graphic in nature.
Yeah.
Only brief portions of these calls will be played.
And trigger warning, some of the content here, this is the first time I'm reacting to this. Well, not necessarily first time. I've heard of some of the icebergs I've watched that related to 911 calls share some of these, or if not almost all of them here. Just trigger warning. There's some things that might be similar to your life experiences. So if you want to leave now, feel free to leave. Other than that, let's get right to this.
Deborah Stevens.
I heard of
On
this
August
one.
24th, 2019, the city of Fort Smith experienced torrential rainfall, leading to immediate flash flooding in the entire area. This act of nature caused immediate danger to the general public. What should have been an otherwise normal day was immediately plunged into chaos for local resident Deborah Stevens. Deborah was on her normal paper route when at around 4:30 in the morning, she found herself swept away from the resulting flash floods. Scared and in a state of panic, Deborah did what anyone in her situation would have done. Looked up 911 calls on YouTube. You are guaranteed to see this one.
Yep.
This call is tragic. But what makes it so much more tragic is how Deborah is spoken to. She is constantly berated and ridiculed when all she wanted was help. The dispatcher in question, Donna Renault, did not professionally handle this call. And while she had may have technically dispatched first responders, she did not treat Deborah with humanity. As dispatchers, we are supposed to provide a level of compassion and professionalism.
Yep.
While it is necessary to raise your voice at times to gain control of a call, simply berating the caller is never justified. And after an agonizing 22 minutes, the call is disconnected. And 1 hour later, the body of Deborah Stevens was discovered. She had ultimately drowned, with the last person she spoke to being Donna. However, while Donna was the main culprit, blame must also be placed upon the department. At the time of the incident, this 911 call center only had 4 dispatchers on duty. This call is infuriating, not only for how Deborah was treated, but how small departments get away with understaffing their 911 center. Every department I worked for was understaffed and overworked. And it's a harsh reality of being an emergency dispatcher. Had this department had adequate training, adequate dispatchers, and proper staffing, the outcome of Deborah may have turned out differently.
Yep, I heard this.
Forgive her, even though it's hard.
Toyota recall.
I've heard of this as
28,
well.
2009, another harrowing 911 call was documented. California Highway Patrol Officer Mark Saylor and his family were in a loaner vehicle supplied by a Toyota dealership. The vehicle in question was a 2009 Lexus ES350. While the traveler was traveling on State Route 125 in San Diego County, the vehicle began to accelerate.
We're going north 125. And our accelerator stuck. I'm sorry? Our accelerator. You passed the name or anything? We're approaching an intersection. Okay. We're approaching intersection. Hold on. Pray. Okay. Oh, shoot. Okay. Hello?
That day. This incident, amongst many others, led to Toyota issuing thousands of recalls. It was reported the accelerators would get stuck mechanically, leading to unintended acceleration. 911 abuse. I couldn't pick just a singular call for this one, so I figured I'd select 911 abuse as a whole. Our 911 system has been around since the 1960s.
Yeah,
and since that time, the system has...
I fucking hate prank calls on 911 abuse. But I am glad, thankfully, those prank calls are felonies. And there's still people doing 911 pranks and getting publicly humiliated as a result.
Space prank calls, misuse of 911, ghost calls. Ghost calls in the industry can be a bit complex. They're usually defined as 911 calls that come in, but are usually static or open air. These calls are usually always harmless, but can cause some disruption. For instance, if a particular phone number is disconnected, but it's constantly down with 911, this can lead to a delayed response in answering. Usually the telephone companies have to get involved and figure out why a specific number keeps generating calls. Another aspect of these ghost calls creates some very eerie feelings. I covered an instance of a ghost call received in my creepiest 911 call ever received video. I kept getting a call from an abandoned line in the middle of the West Texas desert, with no one or even power to the phone line. But my story isn't the only one, though. There have been reported incidents of various ghost calls coming in, such as a dispatcher who experienced a strange call from a funeral home with dead air and static.
This is Erica. How can I help you? Hello? Hello?
Still pretty creepy.
Yeah.
Especially if you're the one who has to answer them.
The murky depth.
This layer consists of calls involving urban legends, tragedy, and missing people. Ruth Price. In the year 2000, a 911 call began to circulate across the internet, one that creeped the ever-living shit out of anyone who listened to it, and was described as such. Elderly female calls police to report a suspicious male outside. The dispatcher did not obtain her address before the attack occurred.
What's the problem, ma'am? Oh, there's some guy been checking the place out.
Pro tip: whenever you have to call emergency services for anything, you always tell the address first. That's the first thing you say. You tell a dispatcher. That's pretty much the golden rule of 911 calls. Whenever you call and say, "Hey, I am legal first name or last name. I am at said address. The situation. Please send whoever." Yeah. So yeah, that was pretty much an example, but yeah, that's pretty much how you're pretty much supposed to supposed to interact with the 911 dispatcher.
Well, he went in the back. I have an apartment in the back, and he said he was looking for a guy. And he comes to my door, and said he's looking for an apartment. So I live alone, and I'm an old lady.
I distinctly remember my friend and trainer at the time showing me this call when I started dispatching, telling me how important getting the address of the caller was.
Yeah,
This
exactly.
call was burned into my brain, and I never answered a 911 call without first asking, "What is the address?" And while this call remained a mystery for the better part,
Yeah, 911 dispatcher trained to get the address first. At the same time, the person who is calling emergency services, you're supposed to give them the address first. You don't say the situation first and then give the address, because every second counts.
20 years, it wasn't until a Reddit thread popped up reviving the story of Ruth Price. A deep dive of this thread unveiled various evidence that this call occurred, but Ruth had actually survived the incident. Contrary to what the world believed, Ruth, while still tragically attacked, survived and went on to live a full life before quietly passing away in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
The Jenny Jones Show. In 1995, a TV show was at the height of its popularity. The Jenny Jones Show, which was a daytime talk show, shifted its approach and slowly transformed into a tabloid-style show. This would include fraternity disputes, personal conflicts, and secret admirers. And on March 6, 1995, an episode titled Same-Sex Secret Crushes was recorded. It started with an introduction of the soon-to-be contestants, and as the show progressed, our stars of the show appeared. Donna and Scott were brought out and introduced, with John following close behind. The show went on, and it was finally revealed that Scott had a secret crush on John. John showed no interest, and the show played out. However, after the show, rumors speculated that John and Scott spent some time together after the show in the following days. And on the third day, this happened.
Okay, why did you do that? Because he's looking for me on national TV. Okay, I want you to calm down.
This is tragic.
After the initial call, John was placed into custody for the murder of Scott, and a lengthy court trial was carried out. Everyone from the Jenny Jones show appeared in court, and even the dispatcher who took this call. John was sentenced to 25 to 50 years in prison, but was released in 2017 after serving just 22. Mental health. During my time in dispatch, calls relating to mental health were some of the most difficult to handle. When someone is experiencing a manic episode or going through psychosis, getting them the proper care can be difficult and sometimes dangerous. An instance of this is Myron May, a well-educated attorney who had developed schizophrenia as an adult and quickly turned manic. Myron was convinced he was the victim of gang stalking, an occurrence in which the victim feels there are a group of people, entities, or government agencies following his every move. Unfortunately, Myron felt his only move was to open fire at Florida State University, injuring 3 and succumbing to his injuries after a hostile encounter with law enforcement.
As sick as this may sound, I've even had stalkers follow me into church while I was in Las Cruces and in Houston. I've had stalkers follow me into church to harass me.
Fake abductions. In July of 2023, a 911 call came into the Hoover Police Department about reports of a stranded toddler walking along Interstate 459.
911, where's your emergency?
Hi, I am on Interstate 459, and there is a kid just walking by themselves.
Oh, hold on. Where on 459 are you?
I'm right next to the exit 10 by the Hoover Met, like to get off by the Hoover Met.
Okay, so you're before that exit? North. Okay. Northbound?
Like 3 or 4.
All right. Can you know?
Belonging to the original caller. It was determined that Catalina, aka Carly, was the caller, but was nowhere to be found. An extensive manhunt was conducted for both the missing toddler and Carly. No evidence was found, but just 2 days later, Carly reappeared at her parents' house, claiming that she had been abducted after calling 911. Police began their investigation, but Carly's story was beginning to unravel. Security footage showed no evidence of any children along I-459, and the investigation into Carly's search history revealed things like: do you have to pay for an Amber Alert? How to take money from a register without getting caught. Carly finally came out and revealed that she had made up the whole thing. Her story infuriated just about everyone who heard about it, using police resources to investigate false claims that took away from the validity of people who go missing every day and are never found.
This pisses me off.
Real abductions. Pivoting directly off fake abductions comes a situation straight out of every nightmare. Imagine eating at home when you hear violent screams coming from your neighbor. As you go to investigate, you hear a woman screaming for help. Your fight or flight instincts kick in and decide to fight. You run up to your neighbor's door and kick the living shit out of it. Once inside, you see not 1, but 3 women, all of whom you recognize from missing posters from the past 10 years. And then you realize the women you're staring at have a child with them.
You need police, fire, or ambulance.
I'm the police.
Imaginable horrors. The 3 women, Amanda Berry, Gina De Jesus, and Michelle Knight,
I've heard of this one.
had all been kidnapped throughout the years and Amanda had given birth to a baby while in captivity. Ariel held these women until Amanda was able to break free and seek help. That's when Charles Ramsey stepped in and saved these 3 women from years of further abuse. This level contains some of the worst calls ever released. If this kind of media upsets you, I strongly urge you to turn back or move on to the next layer. September 11th was one of the worst days in American history. The amount of tragedy and loss of life is incomprehensible. The media that came out of this event is tragic at best. One instance is the case of Melissa Doy, a 32-year-old woman working her day job on the 83rd floor of the South Tower. At 9:03 a.m., United Airlines Flight 175 hit the South Tower, and everyone above the impact zone became trapped. Melissa made a call for help, and after realizing this would be her last, she asked to speak with her mother.
Your mother's gone. 8695, good morning, have a good day. Hi, what's your number again, please? 8695. I'm on the 83rd floor. What? I'm on the 83rd floor. Madam, I'm on 86 what? 86, anybody up here? Of course, man, we're coming up to you.
So uttered it was impossible. As smoke began to envelop the floor, Melissa uttered her last words.
Shit.
Las Vegas shooting.
Heard this too.
On October 1st, 2017, during the Route 91 Harvest Festival, a 3-day country music event was underway in Las Vegas. At approximately 10 p.m. during Jason Aldean's performance, a deranged individual brandished multiple rifles on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel and began opening fire upon the concertgoers.
Do you have an emergency? We're at the Route 91 Festival Fairgrounds, and there's a shooting. Right. Okay. Do you see who's shooting? I don't know.
But we keep hearing the shots getting closer, and there's people down out there. I think.
Okay.
There's tons of people. Oh my God.
Over 500 calls were placed during this incident, crippling 911 dispatch. Every call that came in was high priority. This event at the time of writing is the worst mass shooting event in American history. Pulse. At 2 a.m., a monster by the name of Omar Mateen entered the Pulse nightclub in Florida. Driven by an archaic way of thinking, he was targeting those of the LGBTQ+ communities. He began to open fire, and just 20 minutes later, Omar himself called 911.
Hi there, this is Orlando Police. Who am I speaking with?
You're speaking with the person who pledged his allegiance to the Islamic State.
Can you tell me where you are right now so I can get you some help?
No, because you have to tell America to stop bombing Syria and Iraq. They're killing a lot of innocent people. So what am I to do here when my people are getting killed over there?
The
You know what I'm
closest.
saying?
I do. I completely get what you're saying. What I'm trying to do is prevent anybody else from getting in.
He took multiple hostages, and a 3-hour standoff occurred.
Mm.
Omar wasn't the only one to call 911. Multiple guests of the Pulse nightclub that night called 911 in a frantic state, asking for help and helping the injured around them. One of the most harrowing details to come from this incident was reports of multiple cell phones inside the nightclub going off. Families were calling their loved ones in hopes they would answer. Swatting as a whole are some of the worst calls to come in, a lot of them going unrecorded. This is due to the fact that most swatting incidents aren't done via 911. They're done by contacting the police non-emergency line. You see, when someone is swatted, the suspect usually finds out the location and has to call the department directly. Simply calling 911 will route you to your nearest dispatch center. However, this doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Spoofed numbers, along with geolocation data, have been able to spoof the location and route to the nearest call center, resulting in calls like this one.
I was walking in the hallway to go to the bathroom, and I seen a guy walking, he had a gun in his hand, and he seen me and I ran away.
You said he was yelling?
Yeah, he told me to stop running and aimed the gun at me.
And a lot of these calls will often result in tragic outcomes, such as a real incident in which a victim of swatting was shot by responding officers. And to make things worse, the victim was not the intended target. Tyler Barris was the aggressor in a swatting incident that turned deadly. Over a match of Call of Duty, he doxed an opposing player and proceeded to contact that person's local PD and tell them that he was holding his family hostage. Officers were dispatched, and this outcome resulted in an innocent man losing his life. While there is a lot of criticism towards the response, there's a whole layer of swatting that isn't seen. You see, when a fake swatting event is conducted, the non-emergency line is usually called, and these lines are almost always answered by dispatch. When the call comes in, it's often over the top, and this is done to get the maximum response by officers involved. As a dispatcher, it is our responsibility to assess the call and dispatch appropriate personnel. There is a whole lot more information I can delve into about what really happens when someone is swatted, but that's for a different time. Home invasions. Every day, someone's home is burglarized.
There's also lots of YouTube clips where someone was swatted. And to the swatters, what do you get out of this? Like, what do you truly get out of this? Not only you're risking someone's life, you're risking an innocent life as well, and you're risking prison time. Like, decades of prison time. And depending on the severity of the swatting, you can receive the maximum sentence of life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Into dangerous or even deadly encounters. I can't think of anything scarier than someone coming to your home at night, wanting to cause you harm. A lot of home invasion calls aren't actually available, simply due to the fact that no one is looking for them. That is until there's a high-profile case that involves one of the most chilling calls I've ever heard.
What is location of your emergency? Yeah, there's a man in my house right now. What is? Hold on, stop for a second. What? There's a man in my house. I need you to give me your address first. Is that a house or an apartment? House at the end of the street. Why are you in my house, bro? Tell me to talk to him. You don't get speakerphone. Why are you in my house, though? Sir, how many other people are in your house? It's me, my wife, and our daughter. How old is your daughter? She's 2. 2? Okay. So he's next to me.
All right, promise. Take my hand. I'm Corey Jones. You can go. I'm not gonna hunt you.
Where is right here with
My husband or me outside, yeah. We have everyone on the phone right now. We have your husband, you, and the male that's in your home as well. I just heard a really loud noise.
But also as one of the worst cases of police negligence. On May 24th, 2022, the and U.S.
Hello? Hello? Is this Christopher? No, Christopher's dead.
Christopher Neal was a young man, Navy veteran, father, and husband. He sacrificed himself so his family could stay safe. Christopher did what any loving and protecting father would do. Uvalde. I think it goes without saying that what happened in Uvalde, Texas, regarding the loss of life and police response, will forever go down as one of the worst shootings in U.S. history, but also as one of the worst cases of police negligence. On May 24th, 2022, the shooting at Robb Elementary occurred, leaving over 21 dead and multiple injured. A young student nicknamed Kay made multiple calls to 911, pleading for help and updating the dispatcher on what was happening inside.
Heard this.
10 minutes.
We're skipping this
And during this
because
time,
it was too
the
dark.
dispatch continued to relay any relevant information over the radios. Unfortunately, officers on scene continued to wait outside. The dispatcher answering the calls that day was also given an award for professionalism, and she was able to meet with the children she spoke to that day. Unfortunately, these events were overshadowed by the worst police response in American history.
Mm.
There is a place where the worst calls go. A place that isn't on any list. It's not a video, a news report, or a document. It sits stagnant on a hard drive, inside a random computer. However, these calls also live inside the minds of the people who answered these calls. The sounds of horrific car crashes, screaming children, and those who pass away while still on the phone. The trauma carried by these dispatchers inside will likely never be heard. This video has covered some of the strangest and darkest 911 calls to ever be placed. And this includes any calls that are paranormal, unexplainable, or tragic. Haven 911 PSA. The Haven 911 PSA was released sometime in the early 2000s. It was meant to be a PSA for victims of domestic violence. It opens stating that this is an actual recorded 911 call and depicts a child calling for help as their mom is assaulted at the hands of an ex-boyfriend. The text then cuts to every 15 seconds, a woman is beaten. This PSA was aired briefly with a crisis hotline for those experiencing domestic violence. It was re-aired in 2006 with a website attached, as well as a phone number. This line went directly to an organization in Oakland, California, but the number has since been disconnected. As far as the 911 call goes, I was unable to find an official call related to this PSA, leaving its origins a mystery. Cryptids. It's no doubt that the stories of creatures that defy explanation are prevalent in our current society. While often thought of as mythical, there have been instances of people calling 911 in which they see a strange or unexplainable creature. In July of 2024, a group of teenagers called 911 after reportedly seeing a Bigfoot-like creature with glowing eyes. This took place in the Kisatchie National Park in Louisiana. The Natchitoches Parish Sheriff's Office even released a statement about this incident, stating that nothing could be located. Like many national parks,
Hello,
the
hi
Kisatchie
Skylar.
National
I
Park
just
is
saw
rumored to be
saw
home
your
of many strange
chat.
and bizarre
Boop, boop.
encounters.
Hmm.
Columbine. During the Columbine High School shooting, two students, Eric Harris and Dylan Clayboyd, carried out one of the most notorious mass shootings in American history. 13 people lost their life that day, and many others were injured. The Patty Nelson call was released to the public and has been heavily edited. And while this incident is tragic and the 911 audio is incredibly distressing, there exists a series of compact discs that were released to the public. These discs contain all of the 911 calls and radio transmissions on what happened that day. Many of these calls include audio between dispatch and those inside Columbine High School, with recorded transcripts like, "Don't let him close his eyes. We're having a hard time keeping him alert. Make sure he stays warm." It's rumored there's even additional calls that were never released due to their sensitive nature. And while these CDs exist, it's unsure where they are now. Shweeby. Shweeby was a young man who suffered from depression and thought the only way out was to take his own life. Before this, Shweeby went live on YouTube and jumped into a Discord call, recording the final moments of his life. The 911 call has not been officially released, and likely never will. However, the shock video that was released to the internet captures the moment his mom discovers his body, and the entire 911 call was recorded and broadcasted via live stream. I answered 911 calls for a very long time, and this call is one of the worst I've ever heard.
I heard of this.
Calls.
This is even worse.
With the story of Shweeby, I had to include calls relating to those who take their own life. and how it's captured via 911. These are not calls to be sought after nor listened to. There's a reason calls like these are never released. You see, the harsh reality of these types of calls is that they're so raw and emotional. They will likely leave the dispatcher in a state of shock. And when a call like this comes in, most of these calls all have something in common. The caller is given their last will and testament, knowing that it's recorded, all while the dispatcher is trying to talk them out of it. The caller is just letting dispatch know where to find their body. Someone has just discovered the body, or someone is calling 911 while the person is still alive, trying to get them help, only for the caller to witness this person take their own life. These calls should never be released, and will forever be some of the worst calls ever recorded. Room 211. Arguably one of the worst recorded calls in history, centers itself around the Virginia Tech shooting massacre. On April 16, 2007,
I actually never heard of this.
a man named Sang-Hui Cho opened fire on those of Virginia Tech, starting with West Ambler Johnson Hall and making his way to Norris Hall. Cho would go on to murder over 32 people that day. Before the shooting started, a student from room 211 was instructed to call 911. While on the phone with dispatch, Cho entered the room and began opening fire. Every single gunshot was recorded in this 911 call. The officers who listened to it described it as one of the worst things they've ever heard. Every attempt to have it released has failed, and perhaps that's for the best. Tonight, I have gone over my own personal iceberg, pulling from various media outlets in the corners of my own mind. There are so many other calls I could have included. Those of even weirder, tragic, or even happier in nature. But perhaps we'll save those for another day.
Alright, so I'm gonna set up our tablet real quick, and we'll be moving on to the next portion of the stream. Alright, just give me a moment real quick. I'll be right back. Hello, hello. We're back, Blitzies. I got my art stuff ready. Hopefully y'all enjoy it. Cat decided to go under my feet again. You don't go under my feet, okay? Anyways, it's over here. All right. Anyways, hopefully y'all enjoy this. All right. Let's see here. I wonder if I can search up something real quick. Okay, what is going on with my actual? That's not the fucking fuck you. God fucking damn it. That's not the one you are the piece of shit. Properties. Image. Application window. Window capture. Hopefully this will work. All right. That works. Space. BC face has to go. All right. There we go. I wonder if I can search up something real quick, like, hey, is this it? Show all. Let's see here. PDF. PDF. Oh, so we can documents. All right. Hold on. Sorry, cat decided I'm gonna take a shit here. Okay, that is down a bit, but holy shit, I didn't expect to see. I didn't expect to see that. Well, it's not that actual art book that I was learning from. Well, I got the cat out of the room. There we go. Well, I decided what's going in the chair. But yeah, I get. Sorry. That's downloading. Anime Academy. What? Okay, I may not be alone. That. Okay, so this may be better. Fuck you. Nope, not that one. There we go. Hold on real quick. You piece of shit. I hate it when you do this bullshit. Bullshit. Hold on real quick. Okay, we're back. We're back at it again. Finally, I have found something that's gonna be useful. I already saved the PDF. Alright. Alright, let's get into this. Copyright. Yep. Alright. Content introduction. I had to relearn everything because I haven't drawn in like 2 or 3 years. Thank you, parents, for discouraging me from drawing. I need to focus on eyes here. Okay, so I taught differently, so I get to relearn how to do eyes again. So let's get right into it. I should save this as like a web page. Choose bookmarks. New folder. That's gonna be art. Alright. Hopefully this'll work. This'll work. Alright. Alright, we're gonna get to learning how to draw again. In my YouTube upload, I'll link the actual like web page. Right. Alright. Let's get right into this. Oh, hold on. I was about to draw without my art sleeve. Let me get that out real quick. Yeah, real quick. There we go. Okay. What we're gonna do, file, new, reverse, and new, close, file, new. All right. I believe this is gonna be the start. All right. See here. Start two basic shapes. All right. First, we're gonna do that. Okay. All right. That. And guessing. Okay. You do that. Yeah. All right. First, we're gonna do that. That. Doesn't have to be perfect, but that. Right now, we're just learning. Go. Okay. All right. I'll win this one. Can I have the bucket tool? Okay. Can I? Okay, how can I zoom in? Outside of using my mouse. Okay. Alright, so we're gonna do this. Okay, not perfect, but bucket. Okay. Draw a shine line. Okay. Drop 2 big shine and a bigger shine line. And let me bucket this as. Bucket. Do this. Two big shines there and there. So look. There. You do have a shot on like right there. And bucket. Bucket. King. Okay. Play that. Alright. And 2 big shine lines there. I want to draw the extra like stuff because they have like a bucket that. And make this a darker shade, right? And we do this. And we bucket that. This. Oh. Oh, that isn't closed. Okay, now we bucket. That kind of just should we do some line, some touch up over here. Make it feel liquidy. We bucket this. I kind of just want to do. I see that they have like kind of a ring around. I just want to do a bucket for that. Kind of just doing all this in one layer because why not? I just want to practice this first before like multi-layering this, I guess. ADHD go burger. Let's see here. Side eye. I want to do an additional layer for this. Eyelashes tend to extend off to the front. Alright. Alright. So it's kind of a pickleoval kind of thing. I see the side box smaller, bigger. Supposed to be. Okay, and guessing this is okay. Somewhat stable. Version of this. Okay, and now it's, yeah. Okay. As here. Oh. And go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. And 3 is this smallest one. Okay, then guess here and here. Okay. Then we kind of just share. Okay. Tip. All right, the more shiny and the more B. Okay, and that's okay. Kind of a wave, kind of like a water wave. And then we bucket the shit of everything. That's that's missing now, but this just practice. Okay. All right. Let's see here. Right now, we're gonna need guessing. Like that. And we're gonna need to add some shine. Small shine, big shine. Okay. Big shine, kind of like watery bubble. Small shine. Okay. What do you mean? What the fuck is going on? What the fuck is going on? Am I crazy or what the fuck? I thought I was going crazy. I didn't fucking do that. What the huh? What the fuck is going on? It's fucking. Excuse me? What? Oh, what mode is it on? What's going on? It's fine, but like, huh? Okay, it's still. What is going on? What? Every every time. Uh, uh. I don't. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. And so let's. It's not one. What mode is it in? I don't understand. I don't fucking understand this. I don't understand this. Can someone explain to me what the fuck is going on? This uh, excuse me? I was just expecting to just have a chill art stream. What's off? What's filter? Hand tool. Hand tool. Let's see here. Okay. And mm. Okay. Hopefully this works. Okay. So far looks like it's working. One. Do this. And the small ones that going like that. Oh. Okay. I'll bucket this. Yeah. Can I bucket this color? No, because somehow. What the fuck? Something's going on. I don't know what I actually clicked. Or what's happening. Okay, so let's see layer 1 if it's an issue. Layer 2. It's only layer 2 that has this issue. What did I fucking do? I clearly did something, but I don't know what to do. I I don't know what to do. I clearly did something to it where okay. I am unable to fix this. So the next best thing I can do for this portion, control. Oh, what the fuck? I can create a new layer. And continue drawing there. It's gonna be 7. Hmm. genuinely don't know what I did. Mm-hmm. So anything after that layer, then so what the fuck happened? Okay. So I was focusing on this. We're just getting all the details down to it. So yeah. That's somewhat, I guess somewhat there. You can see. Last thing I'm gonna do, leave this. Let me do this. I wanna do this real quick. Do mm, mm-hmm. Cool S. Yes, I had to do it. Instead, they're figuring out drawing pen. Okay. Their handwriting. Ooh. Cannabis. I need to try this. Probably do smaller. Do smaller. And today's the 22nd, so there we go. So yeah, guys, artifacts there. I think what we're gonna do is basic body proportions is next. All right. Alright, there we go. Sorry about that. Alrighty, ready. Alright, with that being said, thank you for joining today's stream. I hope you all enjoyed your day, evening, or night. I hope you enjoyed the stream. And thank you for watching today's YouTube VOD. I hope you all enjoyed it. And with that being said, I wish you all the best at whatever you're doing right now. So I'm gonna have to end the stream now because I'm a little pooped. I'm a little pooped. A little tired. Anyways, stay well. Remember to eat. Remember to hydrate, Blitzies. That being said, bye bye, matinee.